Right now, even most of the top 50 arena players are really struggling to beat Boss Tower Goro's Stage 4, so I figured I'd make a guide that explains precisely how to exploit his weaknesses at all levels of Goro's tower. We've also got some fresh leaks at the end of the video, so without further ado, let's get into it. What's up, guys? Today we're breaking down Boss Tower Goro. I'll be showing you my method for beating him, but I want to state right up front that you don't need to use my exact team. My team works because it takes advantage of various weaknesses in Goro's kit, and this can be exploited by a variety of different team compositions. So first, let's take a look at Goro himself. We can see here that Goro is level 55 and he doesn't have an unreasonable amount of attack or defense, but he does have an insane amount of health, over 1.6 million. We can also see that his abilities are level 4, level 3, and level 1. This actually tells us a lot. Now, if you don't own Goro yet, like me, then you don't really have any way of knowing exactly what his abilities do. Luckily, I have some friends on the Mortal Kombat Onslaught community Discord who do own him, so I was able to get us these screenshots. I'll put a link to the MKO community Discord in the video description, but be sure to stick around until the end of this video where I'm going to talk about the many awesome features we've already added to the server. Now, the first and most important thing to notice is Goro's passive. Goro reduces incoming melee damage, but in exchange, he takes increased incoming range damage. He also has greatly increased tenacity, and for those that don't know, tenacity represents your likelihood to suffer status effects like stun, knockdown, etc. So essentially, Goro is really tough to control with status effects. Using this information, this means that you want to use as many characters as possible with the range tag. As of patch 0.1.0, there are 16 characters with the range tag, but several of them mainly use healing abilities, so you don't get much value from having their increased damage. I recommend using the heavier DPS units, or at least the DPS enhancing supports, so you're really looking to use any of the following: Deadeye Aaron Black, Deadly Spirit, Aaron Black, Fire Support Jax, Frost, Kano, Katana, Quan Chi, Raiden, Shang Tsung, or Sonya Blade. In particular, Aaron Black, Fire Support Jax, Kano, Katana, Raiden, and Sonya Blade are going to give you the best bang for your buck in terms of damage. I actually made a super handy character guide infographic which tells you which characters have which tags and provides a simplified overview of their attack, defense, and HP stats along with a summary of their abilities. So you can find this graphic on the MKO community Discord linked below. Now back to Goro. So I still recommend using a primary tank as most ranged units are fairly squishy, but you want to avoid melee damage dealers because their offense is weakened against Goro. The next key factor to exploit when facing Goro is positioning. In particular, the positioning you use for this fight is very important. Since you're using so many squishy characters, you want to keep them out of range of Goro's brutal AoEs. Firstly, because they won't be dealing any damage if they're dead, but equally importantly, if they aren't getting hit by his attacks, then they aren't breaking their attack cycles to recoil after taking damage. This is really important because you want to deal as much damage as you can. There's another really big weakness that you'll want to be sure to capitalize on, which I'll cover in just a minute, but first, let's take a look at my setup. So I'm running Undying Shao Kahn, Quan Chi, Kano, and Aaron Black. As I mentioned, this is far from the only team comp that will work. These are just the characters I have who are currently strong enough. So I've got Undying Shao Kahn up front and close to Goro, because I want him to hold his attention. Yu Xiao does a great job of holding aggro with his taunt, and he's super tanky, but he even comes with another nice perk, which is that he can both stun and knock back Goro. Knockbacks are big here because it keeps Goro safely away from the squishies. You'll notice during the fights that I actually hold off on using Yu Xiao's ultimate because I don't want to interrupt him while he's knocking Goro back. Next up, I've got Quan Chi in the back middle. Someone's going to have to be in that danger zone that is the middle row, so I've chosen Quan Chi as he both takes a hit better than the other two, and he puts out the least damage of the three, meaning that even if he dies, the attempt may still be salvageable. Finally, in the back row, I've got my real firepower, Kano and Aaron Black. Aaron Black is a no-brainer as he's currently the top single target range damage dealer in the game. Kano, on the other hand, provides decent firepower, while also providing an attack buff for Black Dragon allies, which includes Aaron Black. He also summons a Black Dragon Mercenary who happens to be a range damage dealing unit as well, so he rounds out the team quite nicely. Alright, so let's break down the combat mechanics because there's one more really important tip that I want to share. Alright, so you can see that the positioning is already working out really well. Goro goes right after Yu Xiao, and everyone else is fairly safe except for Quan Chi, who's being attacked by the minion. I do want to point out that you're going to see me intentionally hold on to several of the ultimates, and there's a reason for that, which we'll get to. I do go ahead and use Quan Chi's because it really only benefits him and it just kind of helps his own healing, and he's already taken some damage so he can start healing right away. But I am going to go ahead and pause it here right now because you'll notice that I go ahead and activate Yu Xiao's ultimate right after I see Goro go ahead and activate his. I do this for two reasons. The first is because Goro's ultimate applies burn, and if you didn't know, when a character is burning, they continually lose a portion of their ultimate meter, which means that if I did not use Xiao's ultimate now, I wouldn't be able to use it because his ultimate meter would no longer be full. The other important reason is that while he's getting hit by those flames, he'll walk a few steps backwards as he's recoiling from the damage. So by activating his ult here, I can actually counter that animation by making him start his ultimate animation, and he won't get walked backwards, as you can see here. So it keeps Goro nice and away from my damage dealers. Now I waited to use Erron Black's ability until I could have Kano go first because Kano provides an attack buff, and then with the attack buff, I use Erron's ultimate to take out that minion. And now that the minion is down, we can just focus on Goro. As I said, when it comes to Quan Chi, I just let his go whenever because it doesn't actually interrupt any animations or anything, and it just helps him to stay healed. But we're in a really good position right here. You can see Goro is kind of safely away from all the range damage dealers, and that's exactly what you want. There's another really important factor here coming up. So you'll see this time Quan Chi does get hit by the flames. Whoever's in that middle row is going to take some damage, so that's why I chose Quan Chi for that spot. But you can see Yu Xiao doing a good job of knocking Goro back, which is nice. What we have coming up here, though, is vitally important. You'll see that I'm holding on to these two abilities, even though I have the attack buff. When you see Goro attack buff himself, you know that he's about to jump up and down. And then, right after he jumps up and lands back down, you'll see that he's kind of kneeling, and he's in a bit of a vulnerable state, which is when you see me start activating the ults. And this is because Goro takes increased damage when he's keeled over like that. So you want to save your big burst attacks until you see Goro kind of bent over in this vulnerable state, and that's when you let him have it. And you can see by waiting for the right moment, the damage value that we get is incredible. I've had my Erron Black with Kano's attack buff hitting into a vulnerable Goro with a crit do well over 600,000 damage, which is just insane. So yet again, Goro goes for the ult, so I immediately use Shao Kahn's ult to cut it off. As per usual, the goon in the middle row takes some damage from the flames. That's okay. As long as Erron and Kano are mostly staying uninterrupted and Quan Chi is getting a decent amount of damage in, we should be okay. Yet again, you're going to see that I'm holding the Kano and the Erron Black abilities. We got a good stun on Goro there. Yu Xiao really putting in the work this match, because with all that tenacity, that's really hard to pull off on Goro, and you definitely don't want to rely on that. But we'll go ahead and fire the Quan Chi ult. You see the Goro attack buff. He goes up, he goes down. This one's a little weird because he also started doing the flame breath at the same time after the jump, but we know that he's about to kneel. So we go ahead and fire this. We've got the attack buff, and then as soon as he kneels, he gets hit. It actually interrupted his kneel animation, but you can see there's plenty of time left on the clock, and we're going to be able to bring him down. And there it is.
You'll be a dog's brain. You cannot be saved. Buzzard bait.
That's a lot of damage. No, that's a lot of damage.
So if I had to summarize this video, use ranged damage dealers, make sure you position them to attack safely, make sure you kill the minion quickly, and make sure you save big abilities for when Goro is vulnerable. And if you combine these tips, you should be able to bring him down with a bit of practice. So now I want to talk about the MKO Community Discord. You'll notice I haven't been uploading as much lately, and that's for several reasons, one of which is that I've been putting in a lot of work to organize this new Discord server. I won't get into the specifics, I'll just say that it's taken many hours, and I'll leave it at that. Some of my favorite features we've already got are, in no particular order, the infographics section. I personally contributed a character guide infographic featuring tons of useful information, and I've got plans for some others. Daily login rewards tracker. This game does provide daily login rewards, but it doesn't actually have a daily login calendar so you can view the rewards ahead of time. So we made one by tracking the login rewards for each day. Leaks. Now I had to data mine the game to get access to some of the art assets, and, well, let's just say that I found some other interesting stuff in the game files as well. And of course, real-time chat. We're constantly discovering new interactions, strategies, and more, and as of this recording, we're even lucky enough to have the Rank 1 Arena player hanging out to answer any questions that you guys might have. So there are plenty of other good reasons to join, but those are just some of my favorites. Anyway, this video's gone on long enough, so if you found this video helpful, please be sure to drop a like and leave a comment, as that really helps me to appease the algorithm overlords. Please consider subbing to the channel, and of course, I recommend joining the Discord so that we can talk in real time. Otherwise, thanks so much for checking out this video, and I will see you guys real soon. Until next time, peace!